was about a couple years ago that I stumbled over the TikTok app and I became just absolutely just obsessed with watching it almost day and night. And that's the way it's just built. It just works that way. And you're just flipping through content. And a lot of it just kind of just blends together. A lot of it's just a lot of noise. But then there are some creators on TikTok's platform that truly get it. They understand the platform. They understand what the people are looking for. And that's what brings me up to the polarizing dark humor comedian, Brad Goss. Oh my gosh, Brad's sense of humor is next level. The fact that he can keep a straight face as he's delivering some of these punchlines and reading some of his, we'll just say, it's adult humor that's disguised as, say, a children's book. Not that he's trying to, corrupt our children by any stretch, but some people would believe that. In fact, we talk a little bit about that, about Brad's brand, about the direction that he's going in, and how he's just crushing it, not on just TikTok, on YouTube, and over on Instagram Reels, where he's just ruling the world. Without any further ado, let's get into the interview with Brad Goss. Brad, I am beyond geeked up to have you here on this podcast, but I come to find out just before we hit the record, you've been wanting to be on this podcast for a while yourself.
Yeah, I've been a fan of your YouTube channel for like 2 years. I've been subscribed and I watch your vids, and because I'm in the space, so I've been following you for a while. I was like, so I remember watching, I don't know, first couple videos and thinking to myself, I'm going to be on this guy's channel one day.
You made it happen. It only took over 1 million followers on TikTok to get my attention.
Yep, it worked.
It was kind of funny because I had posted something on my community tab where I hit 70,000 subscribers, and you hit congratulations, blah blah blah. And like I normally do, I'm very thankful, put the grateful, and then I hit enter, and I'm like, wait, does that say Brad Goss? What? And I went back and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is Brad. And I've been a big fan of yours over on TikTok. Yeah. Now, just so everybody understands this, and I'm sure I'll say this in the intro and the outro, is it's not for the faint-hearted. it's not for the easily offended or easily triggered. So tell me, if you were having a conversation with somebody, someone comes up and says, Brad, what is it that you do? I know you would say comedian, but give us a more granular look at what the Brad Goss brand is.
So for me, I would say I'm a comedian first. I'm a skilled internet marketer second, and an author third.
Wow. So what does your brand look like, though?
Creepy and weird.
Creepy and weird. That's excellent. So you've probably been plying your trade for a long time as comedian. It's very clear by your chops and such like that. So how long have you been in the business of doing comedy, and what got you into it in the first place?
I've been doing it for 3 years.
Wow. So this is pretty fresh for you.
Yeah, it's a midlife crisis shift. One of those like, let's change everything. Yeah. Before that, I was an internet marketer. I ran, and I self-published my first book in 2012. It was a business book. Became a bestseller. Create Space, before they were KDP, put the book on their front page for like a year because it was doing so well. And so I have some experience there. And then this kind of all started because I owned a clip art company, and I had millions of cartoon clip art images, and I made some Facebook ads one day, and I said, you can do anything with our clip art, even make children's books. But the children's books were weird, and they were like these weird covers, and I just thought, oh, that'd be fun to see if the Facebook ads go viral or whatever. And they got a little bit of play, but they didn't do that well, but my friends thought they were hilarious. And so one weekend I just made this was still before I thought of myself as a comedian, but I made a book of 100 children's book covers. Just cover, each page was another cover of a book that never made it, and that book did okay. I self-published it. That book, it was all color inside, and some friends bought the book. It went, a few outsiders bought the book, but then it didn't really get any pickup. And then my kids told me about TikTok, so I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And I was thinking about doing comedy. I'd already kind of had it on the back burner. Like, this is what I want to do. I knew I wanted to do it, but it was one of those, I hadn't pulled the trigger yet. I hadn't figured out what my thing was. And so I made this TikTok account. I mean, you can go back to my first videos. They're cringy. I didn't know what I was doing. And I left them up. I don't care. And I made some dad jokes. I did some crappy things. And then one day I was like, I ran out of joke ideas. And then I remembered I had this book. So I said, I tore one of the pages out of the book. I said, my name's Brad Goss. I write books for children. And my publisher always rejects them. What do you think of this book? And then I would just show the cover. And that video got like 1.5 million views. And
What?
so I'm reading the comments, right? And all the comments are, read this book to us, Daddy. And I'm just like, okay, they want me to write. I didn't write the book. I thought the whole joke was the cover, was the idea. And so I wrote the book in Dr. Seuss style. And then I didn't have the pages illustrated. I didn't publish it. It wasn't. And it's funny because my mind usually goes there. And I usually think this way, but I didn't. And I held up the book cover and I just had it printed out, a poem basically printed out on the back. And I read the book, and that went viral. And then the comments were, "Why can't we buy this book?" And then boom, like immediately, like the light went on, and that was it. I published the book, and I had a copy in my hands within 3 days, and I started reading it. And that went viral. And then every time after that, I would make the book, publish the book, get it in my hands before I showed it to you, so I could say it's available on Amazon at the end, and you would buy it.
Yeah.
And that has been the formula. I'm 102 books deep now.
Oh my gosh. And how, this is over the last 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years. Actually, 3 years. I published that book of covers 3 years ago.
Oh my gosh, man, that's really awesome. You are prolific to say the least. Now, the thing that crosses my mind is you breaking ground over on TikTok. A lot of people are they're going to automatically say, "Is this equating to book sales?"
Yes.
Nice. So, would you
Yes.
recommend that every author do something like this?
Yes. Hashtag book talk is a huge category. There are, I live in Canada. Our local bookstore chain here is called Indigo. If you walk into Indigo, the very first thing you see is a wall that says book talk. And they're all published books, obviously, not self-published, but they have a book talk section at Indigo Books. And, it's the number of people who are authors on TikTok is large. And the number of people who are fans of authors on TikTok is large. And I've managed. So I'm on three major platforms for sharing: TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I can say Instagram pays the most per view. So if I get 1 million views on Instagram, I'm going to sell way more books, like probably 10 times more books than I'm going to get for the same 1 million views on TikTok. But then this on YouTube, I'll get way less than TikTok. So TikTok's almost, maybe 5x what YouTube is. And then Instagram, if I get an Instagram reel that goes viral, the sales from that are 10x what TikTok would be. So, but all things being equal, it's easier to go viral on TikTok. It's easier to get followers on TikTok. So if you're going to, I suggest if you're going to do it, do all three. Do YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Instagram Reels.
How much work is that requiring of you?
It's my full-time job.
Wow.
So I make it my job. You know what I mean? It's like I could, there's two ways to look at this. You can either, build up this thing that you're building and put in all that work. Like I have a cartoonist, two cartoonists that work for me. I don't draw. But everything else I do myself. I'm a one-man operation. So, I put in minimum effort for maximum result. Like I don't edit the videos. I don't over edit my videos. Like I do YouTube, but I don't do YouTube like a YouTuber does YouTube. You know what I mean? I don't do the whole, "Hey guys, smash the like button, yo. But before that, I'm going to tell you another thing, but later there's going to be this, I'm going to hook you for the thing later." And I don't do any of that. I'm just like, it starts off, I'm on Omegle, I'm reading books, and we do like 45 minutes and, or I do shorts that are just the same as my TikToks. Maybe stuff that, because YouTube, the other thing is because my stuff's weird, I play the censorship game. So I know, okay, TikTok's going to take this video down, so I'll put it up on Instagram and YouTube because they're a little more liberal with the censorship.
Interesting. I kind of wondered how that would work out for you because obviously a lot of your comedy is very edgy.
Yeah, I'm an edgelord. I understand.
That's totally cool. Could you see yourself doing this for years to come, or do you see yourself pivoting at any point?
You mean the children's book kind of genre, or
yeah.
that? Here's the thing. I'm doing stand up. I do other things. I tell jokes that don't involve books. But the thing is that when I go to comedy clubs and I meet other comedians, a lot of them have been doing stand up for 10 years and they still work at the bank. I'm making money. You know what I mean? Like, my books sell and they pay my bills. So if I stop writing books, then I lose that income stream. So not that I think some of them will stay, because some of the books sell long after the videos go viral. But I think, like, I've built this thing that works, and you'd be surprised how quickly your fans are like, no, back to the books, book boy. Like, they want you to do the thing that you do. When you're on TikTok and you do something, let's say I build up 1 million followers doing comedy, and then all of a sudden I decide I'm turning 50 this year, I want to get jacked, and I start doing workout videos. Those people you lose all that engagement, right? So, and even if you try to pivot in the comedy and go in a different direction, it can sometimes backfire. So I kind of want to stick with the same theme of being this, like, inappropriate children's entertainer. I think that works. And I think it meets, because the audience is teenage, like say like 13 to 25. But then I also have this big, like, millennial Gen X audience that loves my stuff. And I think it's like, for the younger crowd, it's like, this is weird and cool because we like it. It's like, it's like cringy and they like it. But I think for the older crowd, they're high and they want someone to entertain them while they're high.
Maybe you're speaking directly to me, Brad. But this is really kind of cool to see that you're really diversifying, but you're also sticking to the brand and what you have been doing this whole time. So that's really neat to kind of see. I would love to see what you're doing, say, 5 years from now, because I'm sure as that audience matures, you're probably going to say, okay, they want X, Y, and Z now, as opposed to what they had originally anticipated. So this is really an awesome lesson in things. Now, all right, on the one side of things, obviously you've got your fans, people like me that love it. We get it. We understand it. But then there's the extreme conservative side of things. Those people that, like, say, this is predatory. This is stuff that, he's trying to go after our children and corrupt them. He's trying to put his books into our library. What would you say an argument against something like that?
I don't argue with those people. But I actually love them because they're very helpful to my brand, because they help to create this sort of us versus them scenario where I can be a jerk to them and get away with it. But I like them because, well, first of all, I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people think that I'm a pedophile, or think that I am, because I read inappropriate books to 16-year-olds on a platform where all they see is penises. Like, I'm the most wholesome thing they see that night. The people who see these isolated videos have no idea how much of a warm, like, blanket break I am on that platform. It is filled with actual predators. And so, so there's that contingent, and then there's also a group of people that think he's pushing the leftist agenda in our schools, and he's teaching critical race theory, and he's doing, like, they really, they're hooked on the weird news, that tells them to be afraid of everything, and then they see me and they're like, oh my God, he's teaching our children, because they actually believe when I say I write children's books, they don't get the sarcasm. There's like a small percentage of the population that has no understanding of sarcasm. So you say it and they're like, what? And they lose their minds. And you can't argue with people like that. When someone is outraged and angry and in full-on Karen mode, there's no arguing with them at all. So I have a lot of, like, really, I treat my commenters like hecklers in a comedy club.
Yeah.
Right? So if you come in my chat section on YouTube or whatever, and you bring hate, you better be prepared to do battle. And I have battled the biggest of trolls. And so a lot of the time they'll say things like, this is giving me pedophile vibes. It's creepy that this old man is reading to children or something like that. And then I'll go in and I'll say, does it worry you that you have pedophile fantasies about YouTube videos that you watch? Or, like I'll say things like that where I put it back on them. Why did you project that onto a video that wasn't deemed inappropriate by any censorship group at YouTube? Or if they say he's pushing this agenda in our schools, I ask them, what school do your kids go to? I'll come there next. Or you have to lean into the hate, right? For me, what I do, I lean into it, and I get 1-star reviews on Amazon, Dale, and I read them on TikTok. And I'm like, reading my 1-star reviews, and I'm like, this is offensive to people of color. And then I just read the thing, and I'm holding up the book cover, and I'm gonna turn you into content. I'm gonna screenshot what you said. I'm gonna put it on Instagram. I'm gonna make people laugh at my comeback to your, I'm turning you into, now you're part of the thing. You're part of the machine. You're feeding me more traffic. So it's all if I treat them like hecklers, then I can have so much fun with them. If I argue with them or I take them too seriously, which I've been guilty of doing in the past, it's never a fun conversation. They always want to get the last word. And, sometimes, especially on TikTok, the arguments can go deep. And so that's why I stopped arguing. I've become a master Yoda troll. You troll me, I troll you back in a way. And I know little subtleties about trolling now that I've learned over time on how to manage people. Like, you never get on your heels. If someone says something about you, you never come back and say, no, I'm not. Or you just completely, everything that comes at you, you don't defend. They call you whatever you want them to call you, racist, anything. Just take it. And just, and then it breaks them down, because eventually you get them to a place where they'll say, one of my favorite things to say to people is, I bet you have a lot of friends. Right? And if you're under 18 and I say that to you, you're going to be like, I have friends, and you're going to get mad. And then I know I've got you.
No less, you're creating engagement, which is huge on any social media platform. You get that engagement going, they'll send more love to you.
Algorithms don't care if it's good or bad.
Not at all. I love how your thought process, especially is on the 1-star reviews, because I hear a lot of authors, it literally crushes their soul when they get 1-star reviews. So what would you recommend to an author that would say, for instance, get a 1-star review, but they're not a comedian? How do they handle that?
I think there's still something you can do with that. I think you can take it to social media and you can promote your book, and you can say, you can have a little screen, you can have one of those little 3D images of your book cover, and then you can have a little quote next to it that says, one reviewer said it was absolute garbage, and you just lean into it, have a little fun with it, because then other people are going to be like, that's funny. Why is this author so cool about this? Just share it with someone said that, if you go and look at any of the books that are, forget self-published, that are massively published, that are doing extremely well, you take a 50 Shades of Grey, the 1-star reviews for that book are phenomenal. And it's you read those 1-star reviews and you're like, okay, do I want you have to shift the way you look at this, right? My goal is to have 10,000 1-star reviews.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Right? On a single book. Because if I have 10,000 1-star reviews, I have another 90,000, 3, 4, 5-star reviews. And so I don't they're part of the package. And if you only had 5-star reviews, nobody would believe your book was true. Nobody would believe it. So just and sometimes the 1-star reviews for my book are Amazon screw ups, right? You know how they screw up their book printing sometimes? So they've actually printed my books into a real children's book by mistake, and someone posted it on TikTok, and it went viral. They halfway through my book, it's some book about lizards or something for kids. It's it's clearly a kid's book, and then halfway through, it's help me, step bro, or whatever, so. I've used sometimes the bad reviews are pictures cut off, delivered in the rain, all that kind of stuff. Still have fun with that, First of all, I reply to those kinds of reviews and tell them, hey, you can get a refund from Amazon, and go get your book, But beyond that, the ones that actually hate you, turn them into content. Have fun with it. There's restaurants that do that. You walk down the street, and you'll see they have the little pub has a chalkboard out front that says, come try our burger that one Yelp reviewer said tasted like cardboard and salt or something. Like, it's just like, lean into it, have fun with it, because now people are laughing. Like, people think it's funny, and you acknowledge it. And I think a lot of people don't want to acknowledge it, but it's just part of the thing. And I get it. Like, I don't like them either. Like, I use them to my advantage, and I try and milk them and try to make the best out of them. But when I see a 1-star review, I feel it just like every other author. I feel it in my pit of my stomach. I don't want, like, oh shit, and I don't want to read it. Nice,
Brad. Well, we've burned through our time really, really fast. I want to wrap up with the question I give all my guests. Man, you've already dropped a lot of 411, a lot of inspiration, especially around the whole bad reviews area, but I'm sure you got something else for me. What advice would you give to aspiring authors and self-publishers out there?
Perfection is the enemy of success. I have published so many typos. I have published books that had complete mess ups where I had to fix them. I have actually read, like, I took one of my most viral videos is me reading a book with a blatant typo in it, and half the comments are people saying, "You spelled this word wrong, you dummy," and the book sold like crazy. And then what I did was, and I hope I don't go too long here, but then what I did was I said, go buy this book before I update it with the typo, because you're going to be the last people to get this book with the error in it. I made a thing about it being an error. Like, I'm like, go get it, because once I fix it, there'll never be another copy with an error in it. And a whole bunch of people bought it to get the typo. Right? Like, so don't wait for it to be perfect. Even if it's half-assed, publish it now. Get people talking about it and fix it as you go.
Big shout out and thanks over to Brad. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us. Man, that was super fascinating. I'm not sure if you found some of it interesting. Would this be the type of book marketing you would do? Would it fit your brand? Or could you see yourself leveraging the same ideas, but without a lot of the polarization that Brad does as a dark humor comedian? Definitely would love to hear from you. In the meantime, hey, next week's going to be another fantastic interview. Make sure that you are subscribed and following me on every audio podcast and video podcasting platform. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I'll catch you in next week's interview.